How did this get so mismanaged? I don't understand. Keep in mind, Wolf, just a few months ago, we shut down Bagram Air Force Base. Bagram was a secure military installation with a gigantic airfield. Can you imagine if we still had that?
Yeah.
We vacated that in the middle of the night. We surprised the Afghans when they woke up and we were gone. If we had that and we could now be processing the civ applicants through that, or the thousands of Americans, by the way, that are stuck behind Taliban lines and can't even get to the airport. United States citizens that are stuck behind the lines being told to shelter in place because they have no way to get to the airport at this moment. This would be very different. So look, the decision to withdraw, I disagree with. But regardless where we are at the moment, the president needs to make it very clear to the Taliban that they've never defeated us on the battlefield once. They will never defeat us on the battlefield, and they will allow us to extricate every American and every Afghan that was deserving of American visa now, and they will not challenge us. That's the kind of leadership, because trust me, Wolf, the Taliban knows that they cannot match us. They did, however, crush our will to fight. That's the only way they won.
Poor Adam Kinzinger. You know, he is a lieutenant colonel in the National Guard, and he served in Afghanistan, and he's almost in tears because he understands the pressure that needed to be put on Joe Biden last night, yesterday, today, to get Americans out of Afghanistan safely and to get the people that fought beside him in the Afghan army and the people who served as translators and interpreters and guides and the women who served with our military forces. They need to get out of Afghanistan. And, so there's pressure that's being put on Joe Biden to step it up, to speed it up, to get these people out. And it seems to be playing well, okay? It seems like we got a lot of crap together overnight. We secured Kabul airport. The runways are open. We're removing somewhere between 5,000 and 9,000 people a day. That's just military flights. Now we need to get commercial flights in there, and we need to get those people out. And God only knows where everybody's going to end up going. Some will go to Qatar. Some will go to Uzbekistan. Some will go to Tajikistan. Some will go to, Maryland, believe it or not. Governor Larry Hogan, the Republican governor from Maryland, he wants the Afghans to come to Maryland.
The chaotic and heartbreaking scenes out of Afghanistan over the last several days, with innocent civilians running for their lives in fear of the Taliban, is a result of a rushed and irresponsible withdrawal. Many of these Afghan citizens, our allies, bravely risked their lives to provide invaluable support for many years to our efforts as interpreters and support staff, and we have a moral obligation to help them. For their service, these allies, their immediate families, are eligible to receive special immigrant visas to the United States. Maryland already expects to receive at least 180 Afghan citizens as part of Operation Allies Refuge. The state's Office of Refugees and Asylees works with a network of public and private service providers to aid these interpreters and others and their families in becoming self-sufficient as quickly as possible. Maryland receives more of these SIVs than nearly any other state, and we stand ready and willing to do even more. It's the least we can do. If you're in need of assistance or know someone who is, contact our Office of Refugees and Asylees immediately. I ask all Marylanders to continue to pray for the safety of every American and all of our allies who remain in harm's way.
That's amazing. That's truly amazing. So he wants to take 20,000 people. He does. He wants to take about 20,000 people. It's incredible. It's just an amazing thing. But as far as the last caller goes, America does not engage in nation building. We're not the Roman Empire. If you want to read a book about the Roman Empire, there are several thousand volumes of the fall of the Roman Empire, and you can read that and learn why that doesn't work. But the Marshall Plan, General George Marshall, when the Marshall Plan was executed, was the Secretary of State of the United States of America. He was not in the field fighting, beating back Nazis. Okay, he was the United States Secretary of State. So are we really like doomed to repeat history because no one remembers it? I don't really know. But that was interesting. No, we didn't go, and after the war was over, World War II, in 1948, that's when we came up with the Marshall Plan. General George Marshall was no longer a serving general in the U.S. forces, okay? He was the Secretary of State of the United States. And we invested, like, I don't know how much it would be worth in today's dollars, but probably, I mean, it was millions back then, but it's probably billions by now, in rebuilding what we broke. What we broke in Europe, along with our allies. We didn't go Nazi hunting. Nazi hunting was the actual war. That's what we did. So I don't know why people are just this way. I really don't. Look, Afghanistan was never winnable. It was never, ever, ever going to be something that would look like America, or you would somehow see little towns and they would be selling, the Kmart and a Target or a mall. That is not anything that would ever happen there. Afghanistan's always been divided into tribes. It's always been divided between the Taliban and the Northern Alliance, or Tajikistan and Afghans, and it's a very mountainous, horrible beige place full of deserts and mountain, and that's what it is. And anybody who ever went in there to try and conquer them has failed miserably. The British spent years in there. That didn't pan out well for the British. The Soviets went in there. They call it like the place where empires go to die. And so then, of course, America had to take a turn, except ours lasted longer than anybody else's, and it ended the way it was always going to end. Our only assignment there, and this is what I said last week before all this happened, I told you, just remember that we did not go there to fight the Taliban. We went there to fight Al-Qaeda, to get them out of there. And we were able to do that in like 2 months. And the rest of it was pure contractor wet dream. The amount, trillions of dollars were spent in Afghanistan, right? $1 trillion, they say. Well, who got that $1 trillion? Certainly not the people of Afghanistan. No, the defense contractors. That's who got the money. I mean, this is a ridiculous thing to even have to go over. It's so stupid. 20 years, nobody's learned a damn thing. I'm stunned. I really am. I thought at least people understood what we went there to do, which was done in 2 months. And by 2000, we had a perfect opportunity to get the hell out of there in 2001. And then when we stayed on, the reason why we stayed on was so George W. Bush could tell you we were fighting terrorists, and now we had to go into Iraq. And by 2003, which was another really, really giant opportunity to get the hell out of Afghanistan, everybody was then, let's bomb Iraq, another unarmed nation. Well, they were unarmed. Afghanistan is it's like the Trump followers. They're fundamentalist. They love the gun. They live and die by the gun, and they will martyr themselves in the name of their religion. So it's just like the Trump supporters. But we could have gotten out of there in 2001. We could have gotten out of there in 2003. But by 2003, now everybody was focused on Iraq and forgot about Afghanistan. And now it's 20 years later. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to RandiRhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.